that you got is a hokey-doke courtroom right there with a liar for a prosecutor, and we bring a liar.
I'm not finished yet. I'm not finished yet. No. Do not hold detention.
I'm not putting on no
13 hours, and that's only in the event that you're released.
The allegations are that you committed an act of robbery armed, which is punishable as a felony by up to life or any term of years. At the Walmart store located at 23800 Allen Road in Woodhaven County of Wayne, State of Michigan, that you committed an act of armed robbery. And there is a fourth offense habitual offender notice attached with prior verified convictions and a fourth offense mandatory 25-year habitual offender notice attached as well. Those are the allegations, or that is the allegation the prosecutor has the burden of proving to me by probable cause standards that this charged crime was probably committed and that you're probably the person who committed the charged crime. You don't have to do or say anything, nor does your lawyer, but your lawyer will always be given an opportunity to cross-examine all witnesses the prosecutor puts on the stand in the attempt to prove that burden. Any matters that now need to be addressed before we begin?
Just a mutual sequestration order with an exception to the OIC who is here and will not be testifying.
Any objection to the OIC remaining in the courtroom, Ms. Manarino?
None.
And sequestration order is in effect. All right, go ahead and call your first witness.
Judge, the people called their first witness, Christopher LaFleur, to the stand.
Please step forward. Sir, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalties of perjury the testimony you are providing will be true and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Please be seated. State and spell your first and last name for the record.
Christopher LaFleur, CHRISTOPHER, last name LaFleur, LAFLEUR.
Okay, and I'm going to take you back to the.
Yes.
And were you at the location of 23800 Allen Road in the city of Woodhaven, County of Wayne?
Yes.
And what's at that location?
Walmart.
And are you employed at that location?
Yes.
And what is your position there?
Loss prevention, asset protection.
Okay, and can you describe your duties as in that position?
Watch the floor, look for any ways that loss can occur, mostly shoplifting primarily.
And while at that location on that date, did you observe anything that would bring you into court today?
Yes.
Okay, what if anything did you observe?
I observed an individual. I had seen him on video prior to, I'd recognized him prior from previous thefts.
Okay, and you indicated you observed him. Was he inside of the store?
Yes.
Okay, do you see that individual in court today?
Yes.
Could you please state where he's at and article of clothing that he's wearing?
He's on the screen on Zoom. Wearing, I think it looks like blue.
Judge, let the record reflect the identification of the defendant in this case.
Individual wearing a blue shirt on this Zoom screen, acceptable, Ms. Manarino?
Yes.
Identification has been made and reflected on the record.
So you indicated, is that what first brought your attention to this individual?
Yes.
And did you continue to observe him?
Yes.
And what, if anything, did you observe?
He was in electronics. He quick selected a couple packages of digital film. He then went to sporting goods and he had a hat on his head prior and he took that hat off that was his. He put it on the shelf, grabbed a new one, took the tag off, put it on his head.
Okay, and the result of that, what, if anything, did you do?
I continued watching him at that point.
Okay, and did you watch him walk through the store?
Yeah.
Okay, and then what happened after that?
Yep. After the hat, he went to the apparel and he took tags off 2 pairs of pants. He then went to the diaper aisle and infants, and then he concealed the pants and he concealed the camera film.
Where did he conceal them?
His jacket pockets, kind of down the front of his pants a little bit.
Okay, and did he attempt to walk out?
Yes.
Okay, and did you make contact with him?
Yes.
And did he pass all points of sale?
Yes.
Okay, and where'd you make contact with him at?
At the vestibule in the grocery store.
Okay, and did you identify yourself as an asset protection manager?
Yes.
Okay, and did he say anything to you?
Not initially.
What did you say to him?
I told him I identified myself as Walmart Asset Protection. I told him that I just needed the merchandise back that he had concealed.
And what, if anything, did he say to you?
Nothing yet until we hit the sidewalk.
Okay, and when you got to the sidewalk, what did he do?
I was still asking for him to get the merchandise and he reached into his right pocket and brandished a knife.
Okay, and could you describe that knife?
Yeah, it was a little knife, so the blade's probably 2 to 4 inches.
Okay, and what did you do as a result of that?
I got out of the way. He told me I had 2 seconds to back the fuck off.
Okay, and were you scared?
Yes.
Were you in fear of your life?
Yes.
And what did you do as a result of that?
I got out of the way.
Okay, and did he point that knife at you?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you do after?
Just got out of the way.
Did you call law enforcement?
Yes,
And did you make a statement?
yes,
Did you provide that statement to the officers?
yes.
Okay, nothing further for this witness, Judge.
Russ?
Thank you, Mr. LaFleur. Is that correct?
Yes,
And you were employed at Walmart at the time?
yes.
You're not still employed at Walmart, are you?
I am still employed at Walmart.
I'm sorry?
I am still employed at Walmart.
Okay. And so you indicated when you first became aware of the individual you identified as Mr. Brito, you saw him on camera.
Yes,
And the camera that you were watching, are you somewhere off the floor in a room watching that camera?
yes.
Okay. And you, are you alone or with somebody?
I was alone.
And when you observe this activity, at some point you decide you need to go and confront Mr. Brito.
Yes,
And you leave the room you're in, correct?
yes.
And you make contact with Mr. Brito.
No,
You did make contact with him?
I did make contact, but I recognized him in electronics, and that's when I went to the floor and watched him from the floor the rest of the way.
Okay, so first you were watching him on camera, and then you actually came down to the floor.
Yes,
And so you were able to observe on the floor what he's doing.
yes.
Does he have anything in his hands? Is he carrying a bag, a purse, or some kind of, anything you can put things into?
No, just a big jacket.
Just a big jacket. So you see him putting things under his jacket
When I left the office, no.
when you were on the floor?
Well, when I was on the floor later, yeah.
Okay. And so you start following Mr. Brito.
Yes, when I left the office.
And as you're following him, you indicate at some point he goes beyond all points of sale.
Yes,
And when you first tried to stop him, where are you?
I was in the vestibule.
In the vestibule, is that kind of
It's a space in between the two entry doors where we keep the carts.
okay, so there are two entry doors. One that leaves the store, but there's still an area where the carts are.
Yes,
And then there's another door that actually leads out somewhere.
in the parking lot, yes,
It leads out to a parking lot.
yes,
And you first made contact with him in that area you described as a vestibule.
yes,
And you asked him to stop,
yes,
and does he?
no,
Keeps going.
yes,
What does he have anything in his hands at that time?
no,
And he's walking?
yes,
Yes, goes past the second set of doors,
yes,
and now is he in the parking lot?
no,
Where is it?
sidewalk,
On the sidewalk, and you stop him on the sidewalk.
yes,
And at some point, he leaves the sidewalk area, right?
yes,
And goes where?
into the parking lot,
Into the parking lot. Do you see him actually approach a vehicle?
yes,
And does he get into that vehicle?
yes,
Does he have to unlock the door of that vehicle?
I don't recall,
At some point, the vehicle starts up and leaves the area,
yes,
and you know where he, did at any point you see him take out a key that he uses to either open the door or to start the vehicle?
Objection, Judge Roberts.
If he sees.
And he can answer that question. Objection is overruled.
okay, you're asking if I see the key?
Yes.
No,
So when you stop him on the sidewalk after the second set of doors, you indicate that is it at that point that he reaches into somewhere and takes out something you believe to be a pocket knife?
yes,
Do you see where he reaches into to get that?
yes,
Where?
it's all front right pocket,
I'm sorry,
it's all front right pocket
front right pocket of his pants or of his jacket?
of his pants,
Of his pants. So he reaches into his right front pocket and takes out something that you believe to be a knife.
Objection, Judge. You already indicated on the right that it was a knife.
Your response?
I don't understand what the objection is. I asked him if he pulls out something that he believes to be a knife.
Okay, objection is overruled.
yes,
And after he then refuses to stop, you see him continue to walk to the vehicle and get into the vehicle.
yes,
All right. Can you describe, okay, first of all, strike that. You say when you see him reach into his front pant pocket and pull something out, Right, did you say right front pocket or did I make that up?
Right front, yeah, front right pocket.
Right front pocket with his right hand.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
his right.
And what he pulls out of his pocket, can you describe it? You said you believed it to be between 2 and 4 inches long
Yes.
and silver in color?
Yep, stainless steel.
Is there anything else you can tell us about what you described seeing?
It was a smooth blade. There was no serrations on the blade.
How close were you at that point when you saw that?
So within arm's length, maybe a little closer.
You're that close to
Yes.
Mr. Reno?
Yes.
Within arm's length? Yes?
Yes.
Now, you indicated that you saw all this on video. You first saw Mr. Brito when you were inside, you could see him on video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, initially, yeah.
Okay, is that something that it was preserved and was filmed, do you know?
Yes,
Yes, it was preserved.
yes.
Is that something you had an opportunity to review before your testimony today?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, now let me ask, what occurred outside of the second set of doors? Is that in an area that was also subject to cameras and filming?
Yes,
And do you know whether or not that was in fact filmed?
yes.
And do you know, did you have any opportunity to review that before your testimony today?
No.
I don't have anything further, thank you.
Nothing further for the people, Judge. The people rest.
Thank you. You may step down. And any witnesses on behalf of the defense?
No,
Your motion,
Judge, the people move for bind over on count 1 and reserve argument for rebuttal.
your response?
well, Judge, the prosecution has chosen to charge Mr. Brito not only, well, not with, retail fraud involving 2 pairs of pants and a hat. They're charging him with armed robbery, which involves, possessing a dangerous weapon, in fact, possessing a knife. I don't believe the testimony at this point is sufficient to establish, even on a probable cause standard, that what the witness saw in his hand, which he then walked to his car and got into his car and drove away with, was in fact a dangerous weapon, a knife, and so I would object to the fact of
Mr. Shahra?
Judge, with respect to defense counsel, the victim was very vivid in his recollection of the events. He indicated he described what he believed to be a weapon, a knife. He described it to the court. He said it was 2 to 3 inches, the blade. And Judge, for armed robbery, there doesn't have to be actual force. It's a threat of force. And Judge, he makes those statements to this individual to back off. At that point, he was afraid. He indicated on the record he was afraid for his life and he backed off. This is not a retail fraud, Judge. An element for retail fraud doesn't have anything to do with force or threat of force. This is far beyond retail fraud, Judge. And the complaining witness indicated, Judge, understand that this individual was inside of the store. He knew him from prior incidents. He took a hat off, pulled the tag off, and then proceeded to put the hat on his head and attempted to flee from the store at the time. So that's when he made contact with him. He identified himself as an asset protection manager, and the defendant presents and produces a knife and makes those threats to the defendant, to the complaining witness, Judge. And for those reasons, Judge, we believe we met our burden and move for bind over.
Thank you. Anything else?
No.
All right, based upon the evidence that I've received, the testimony provided by Mr. LaFleur, the sole witness called by the prosecutor, I believe that the prosecutor has met his burden of proof with respect to the charge of armed robbery, and all of the elements were provided. Mr. Shahra is correct with respect to the threat of force. There is also a requirement that there was possession of an object capable of causing death or serious injury. And this witness was quite clear in his account of the type of weapon being a stainless steel, non-serrated, smooth blade knife with a blade between he said, estimated between 2 and 4 inches. So I do believe that the prosecutor has met his burden with respect to the charged count of robbery armed. There is a habitual offender notice attached.
with prior verified convictions. Sir, you are bound over for arraignment on the information at the Third Circuit Court on this charge.
That's news.
Prosecutor established identity. Prosecutor established the date and place, location,
Right.
and the requisite terms or elements of the charged crime, robbery armed.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there is a fourth offense habitual offender notice thereto, attached thereto, identifying April 10th of 1991 of breaking and entering an occupied dwelling conviction, December 17th of 1992 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counts for 4 counts for armed robbery, 1 for unarmed robbery. Prior conviction on December 17th times 2, 1 for armed robbery, 1 for unarmed robbery. Prior conviction, July 14th of 97 times 2, both for armed robbery. January 23rd of 07, armed robbery with fleeing and eluding in the 3rd degree. January 14th of 97, armed robbery times 2 and felony firearm. January 23rd of 07, armed robbery. Those are the prior verified convictions to establish the habitual offender notice. Your arraignment on the information will take place 1 week from today's date. Same bond remains intact. Same bond conditions apply. Not leave the state without first seeking consent from the court. You cannot violate any law or ordinance. You must appear at all future court dates as directed. No contact with Kristen LaFleur or any of the employees of Walmart or any prosecution witness, meaning you cannot confront, write, phone, text, email, use any other mode or means of communication to try to contact any of these individuals, and you shall not direct anyone else on your behalf to do so. This is completely unacceptable that he has turned his back to me. Otherwise, I would have
It's
ordered him to be in this
unacceptable that you
courtroom.
got a bunch of liars.
No, I'm not finished yet. I'm not finished yet. No, no, no. Do not walk out. Do not walk out before I hold you into
Do what you
Mr.
gotta do.
I've been
You're
very
gonna sit here and
respectful
listen
of
to all
you.
these lies, and you're putting lies on me, and everything that you got is a hokey-doke courtroom right there with a liar for a prosecutor, and you bring a liar in here to sit there and lie, and everything you put on paper, and you bring something up on me 2 years from now, and it's a lie, and you sit there, oh, it's a pointy little thing.
Sir,
and the
you are
guy's a
not to
straight up
return to
liar,
or re-enter
because
the
when I came
premises
out
of
that
any Walmart store. You're required not to
I
possess
put
or have
my
access
keys
to
out
any
of my
firearms
pocket,
or
opened up
weapons.
my car
And you are
door.
required to obtain a GPS tether home detention.
I'm not
With a
putting on no
curfew,
tether.
13 hours, and that's only in the
Yeah,
event that you're ever
whatever.
released
Whatever,
on this case, but
whatever.
also the pending case. You're all set, sir.
Great.
August 1st at 9
Great.
a.m.
Have
at
a
the
Merry
Wayne County
Christmas.
Circuit Court.
Have a Merry
Frank Murphy,
Christmas.
Hall of Justice.
Great.